start. Hello, hello, hello. We're trying this again. I had a little bit of a typo there. And I'm like, why is my stuff not working? But anyway, you are welcome to the book bar. I'm your host, Midnight Ace, and we are here with Casey Mills. I am super excited about having her. This is long overdue. And guys, guess what? Today is release day. Woohoo! Happy release day. Happy release day. We
Thank
love
you.
it. We
Thank
love
you.
it. Hello there, Miss LaShawn. Thank you for joining us. So, guys, before we get started, please make sure that you like, share, tag a friend, tell them to come on down. We'll leave the porch light on for you. Just come on and slip in the back door, adding it up with Casey Mills. Casey Mills. Okay, little bio, guys, what the World Wide Web says about her. She is a best-selling author of over 100 books, right? And her titles span from contemporary romance, urban fiction, women's fiction. And she's known to have some emotionally complex, realistic stories and have the ability to tell her stories across multiple genres. And she does this all while focusing on all shades of brown, seeking their happily ever after. And so is that true? I like to think it's true. So far from what I've read, that's true. But that's what the World Wide Web says about Casey Mills. What I want to know is, who is the Casey Mills?
um, so I like what they said because I sound real important.
Trust me,
But
you are.
thank you. Truthfully, I am, well, first of all, I am wife, I am mother, I am friend. But ultimately, I am just a creative and a girl who is in love with love.
Oh,
So that's literally me in a nutshell.
all right. Well, hey, we love you for that. Your stories, I do feel like you right. You're more than that. I mean, you say that what you are, but to us, you're a superstar.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And I know sometimes we put you guys on a pedestal. And sometimes we have to make the decision between, hey, you guys are human, just like we are, but you are our superstars. And sometimes your stories are the ones that keep us getting up and going. And sometimes they inspire us to be more than who we are.
Right.
So let me just say thank you for that. Especially with this story that you did, you could do damage. Because Nari is one of those people who was always seeking for love, right? And
Mhm.
she was just thinking she was going in the right places to find it, thought she did. And then when that didn't go well for her, now she finds herself like basically in the lion's den, kind
In
of,
the lion's den.
and she
Bless her little naive heart.
right. But I did love Nari. She was she in this story where it was really serious because Kincaid was a very serious man.
Yeah.
But where Nari balanced the storyline was is that she was that naive, kind of quirky kind of girl. And then some of that stuff, like when she kept saying buddy, I was like, how is he taking that? You know what I mean? So
Ah,
we,
that's
we
funny.
was loving her about that. But I have to ask though, this title, You Can Do Damage. What's the significance in that?
So it's layered in a good way and a bad way. Not necessarily bad, but so for both of them, um, I guess essentially because Nari needs a family, she's never truly been loved. She's trying to figure all this out. And with Kincaid, he has been in a structured setting. And although loved by his parents, he hasn't truly been able to just outright love, because to love, you have to be flexible, you have to be seen, you have to be raw, you have to let your guard down. And he couldn't do that because of the structure that comes with his family. So you could do damage is more or less with the both of them, the two of them. You can destroy me, they can do damage to each other. With Kincaid, for his structure, for the family, for the things that he is building, the position, the power that he holds. Nari can do damage to that by forcing him to be open and love and careless sometimes,
Mhm.
with the things that he's doing. And for her, she wants this family to be loved and to belong so much that has to be open and unguarded, and he can do damage to her in a sense by trusting. So it's that, and they can do damage to each other emotionally, with their hearts, because neither of them really planned on giving each other their hearts. This was a business deal. It
Right.
was, a situation where you're going to get what you need and I'm going to get what I need, and we're going to just be here, like that kind of thing. Oh, little did they know.
Right, right. Well, you know what? You kind of can you can kind of tell from the from when she was in the club, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And that whole situation happened. But you couldn't really tell, like Kincaid was guarded throughout the whole entire story. Even with Nari, he was guarded. But the one thing I did like about Kincaid was just he was that ultimate alpha male, you know,
Yeah.
and the whole play shift that he did with with Nari and the business deal and everything.
Yeah.
You got to respect a man that just moves unapologetically. He don't tell nobody what he doing. Which is really pretty much how he stayed on top. He made his
Yeah.
decisions, and he didn't have a whole lot of people that he told, not even his mother or his father. And
Right.
I was thinking, how is this going to turn out? But I absolutely loved it. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved the way it turned out. Those two characters were really, they brought the story along. I tell you.
Yeah, he didn't ask. He is that person that feels like he has it all figured out, and he's very structured and business minded. And so to me, he is not necessarily calm, because he's kind of chaotic in a sense, but he's calm and she's chaos. And he's structure, she's mess.
Yeah.
Like it's those two things, but you knew from him intervening, because he was not about nonsense.
Hmm.
Anything that didn't serve a purpose in his life, he did not deal with it. So from the very beginning, when he intervened in her situation at that club, she was going to serve a purpose in his life.
Right? You knew that. But the way you wrote it, and like, if I imagine this playing on a screen, right?
Hmm.
So
Okay,
the
so
whole
pause for a minute there. Let's manifest that.
Yes, yes, yes. I do need to see this on the screen because this is one of the
Yes.
stories that the way the plots and the way it went, you could totally have this on the screen. I'm thinking it could be a good Lifetime movie or definitely on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
But so in my mind, I'm visioning, the visual, right? She's in this place, and how she's talking in her mind about this guy. She's seen him before. He doesn't look like he's paying attention to anything, and he is paying attention to everything.
Everything. But what's funny is, like, the oddness of how I write like that. So when I'm writing, it's not just words on a page to me. In my mind, I see these things. I see, like you were saying, seeing it unfold. I see the stories. I
Okay.
see them so vividly. I see the characters. I see their actions. I see simple facial movements and hand gestures. I see all of this, and I write it like that. And so it's all intentional with that. Like that's the way I write because I see it and I try and give it to you guys that way.
Yeah, well, you did an awesome job with that. Hey there, Miss Charity Shane. Now, okay,
Shanae.
Shanae, sorry.
Oh, no
Okay,
worries.
so I see my man. Okay, listen now, you're gonna have to do some sharing. You're gonna have to do some sharing because I am all over me some Kincaid. So welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for all you do as well. And then this is one of my hearts here, Miss Author Michelle Sims. She has quite the author mails in her catalog too. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all you do. Yeah, I know.
Jennifer.
Yeah. Jennifer is out there. She says she loves her some Casey Mills, and LaShawn is all out there too. Thank you guys for joining. And you are absolutely right, Jennifer. She will not be disappointed. And then, hey there, Miss WTF. How's it going? Hey. So now these characters. Okay, so again, early on we talked about the different buckets that you write in.
Right.
You have your contemporary romance, you got your urban fiction, and then you have your women's fiction. Now, when you're writing, like, okay, so prior to this, for me, I had Innocent Intent, which we talked a little bit about that. It kind of, to me, kind of had like a little bit of the Criminal Minds in it because of the way that character was, and her job was in first. But so that's romantic suspense.
Yes.
And then you had, what was this other title that I have? I just love the cover, so I haven't gotten into it yet, but I do plan on getting into that next. That is Beautiful Noise.
Okay.
So that one is considered like a women's fiction. Yeah.
And more romance.
Romance.
Yeah, kind of in that space.
That's why I always wonder when I'm looking for something and you go to Amazon and then I go to look and see what bucket is in. I just never know. You know what I mean? Because
and they move stuff around so much, and it's wherever, like, so it's hard sometimes to know what stories are and where to dump them.
Right. Well, and I was going to ask that question too, about how do you do that? I mean, I'm sure they have like a list of topics you can just, and then you can do damage 1 and 2, right?
Right.
So when you're writing these different characters, what's the inspiration for them? Because you changing hats and buckets, you know what I mean? You going in and getting different emotions.
So at the core of, I'm a romance girly. I mean, through and through. There's nothing that I'm ever going to write that doesn't have some kind of romance in it, because that's just, that's where my creative, juices come from. It's just that romance. So the core of everything I write is the romance, and everything else just kind of goes outwardly this way with what it is. So the inspiration ultimately comes from where they're going to land in the story, the romance aspect of it, but also to the characters. I don't know. I don't outline. I'm a free writer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so I don't necessarily know who these characters are when I write them most of the time. They start to come alive as I'm typing them out and I'm visualizing them, and see things that inspire, certain layers or aspects of these characters, and then they take over. The characters kind of drive who or what they are. But as far as what genre they land in and things of that nature, I kind of fine tune that aspect of it when I get closer to the end of what it is, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we got a little bit of this in there and a little bit of that in there, and because I even write paranormal, so it just depends on what the layers are.
Okay.
That determines, where the stories are going to land. So it typically is there.
Yeah, I can see where that would be the best course of action, to wait until you get the story and then land them in their buckets, their perspective buckets. Yeah. Now, what ingredients did you use for? We'll just keep it with the main characters, which was Kincaid and Nari. What ingredients you felt was necessary to make them who they were and to make that story successful?
I think more so, and so a lot of people are irritated with Nari because she's so naive and she doesn't know this, she doesn't know that, she doesn't know how to function in his world. And girl, let that man just do this. And then a lot of people are, as far as Kincaid, oh, he's too demanding, he's too protective, he won't let her breathe. And but you have to, and a lot of times, and I've started saying this at the beginning of my books, don't go into this with expectations, and do not go into this trying to dissect these characters based off of your perceptions, because what you think, feel, and believe is going to be a completely different thing from how these characters are navigating in their circumstances in their world. So
Yeah,
what was necessary for the two of them was, with Nari, brilliant woman, she just did not have a clue about certain things. And love makes you stupid sometimes. Like, it just literally is what it is. Lack of love makes you stupid
yeah,
sometimes because you do things that just don't make sense, from that need of wanting to have these things. And so what was necessary was for Kincaid to have that structure, for him to be protective. And his protectiveness, although overbearing sometimes to some, was necessary because Nari needed that guidance and she needed that reassurance. And had he let up from her, then I think that she literally would have just been spiraling, spinning, and she wouldn't have been grounded in that relationship because she's a runner. And
yeah,
so he had to, set the foundation. So what was necessary was for him to be adamant about, this is us, this is where we're going to be, and this is how you're going to function here until you can stand on your own and show me how you need to be in this relationship. And it took some growing up for her to get to that point where she found her voice and was able to say, this is me, this is how I need to be loved, and this is where I'm going to be in this relationship. And when she did that, he stepped back. He's
yeah,
like, okay, I got you.
yeah, yeah. And I would think Nari had the most growth spurt through the, within the two books. At the
Yeah.
end of the second one, she had the most growth spurt, which was, I think, was expected because she was the one that had so much to lose or didn't come with so much when she first came into the story.
But
Um,
he also had to learn and grow also because he had to accept that he had to be vulnerable, because he just did not, he's not a vulnerable person because control is his power. And so he had to learn a lot too, which she forced his hand with that a lot because of her recklessness and her incessant need to be seen sometimes.
mm,
He ended up having to learn and grow too. It was like, okay, so you just gonna run with that, huh? All right, cool. I'm gonna have to, learn how to be flexible in my stance on a lot of things.
yeah, but I do think though, like with the trust factor with them,
Mhm.
like I said, this story was very, to me, was authentic. Not having a relationship with someone that is sort of like a crime boss or
Right,
something,
right, right.
but just a couple in general. It was so authentic because that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to trust each other. You have to learn each other's ways in order for them to, before you can be, cohabitate together.
Right.
Um, yes, Kincaid was demanding in a sense, but you could tell he had his ebbs and flows. He something would make him crazy, like if somebody looks at her wrong or whatever. And then he could calm down when he was within her, because I think she was his calming. She was
Yeah.
his chamomile tea, basically.
Yeah. And from a place of love too, because he doesn't know anything else,
Yeah.
you
Neither
know?
one of them
Yeah.
do it really.
Yeah, it's control is the foundation of everything that he does. Like that's all he knows. And I hate to use the word control because it's not necessarily control, because for him it was protectiveness
Yeah.
and it was fear a lot of times too, because this man has not loved. And he opened his heart to this woman, and fear was like, man, I've never done this before. And if she leaves me, I'm not gonna make it.
Right. Well, she wasn't gonna make it either.
Yeah.
It was gonna be some whole lot of somebodies that wasn't gonna make
Agreed,
it.
agreed, agreed.
But I do like how he took the lead. And he didn't ask for permission, like most guys like that, they have a closeness to their mother, and
Yeah.
they would reach out to them, or they have a conversation with their father, like, how did you make it work? Because his father made it work,
Right, right.
right? But this was, I loved how they learned together. And I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to teach. You don't have all that outside noise in
No
there.
outside noise.
Well, you did have a little bit of encouragement from Alicia, and I could get the guy's name, but her husband, his best.
Yeah.
You had a little bit of that in there.
Yeah. And I think so you needed that little bit of balance, especially for Nari to have someone other than Kincaid saying you can survive in this world. Because she's an outsider, and then Alicia is an outsider as well for choosing the life that she chose, the
Yeah.
route that she went. So it was like, girl, you're gonna be all right. We're gonna figure this out together.
But you know what? I loved how it didn't take her no look. So that was the one thing about Nari. Okay, so Nari, we kind of, as the reader, we kind of shifted gears with her as she was
Mhm.
walking through her journey. Because when you first meet her, you think she is this naive girl who's just trying to find love in all the wrong places, it seems like, right? But she's handling her business. She didn't crumble. I love how you didn't make her crumble with that
Yeah.
situation. She got herself together. She got to work, and she was just going to make it happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then as it progresses, you like, okay, this girl she may be naive about some things, but she's got a good head on her shoulders. You know what I'm saying? And then when she was like, by the end, she was like one of those boss chicks. Like
And it-
now she could fit in his world.
yeah. And is she really naive, or is it just, and I hate that word also too, because I mean, there, you don't know what you haven't experienced.
Uh-huh.
And so she hadn't experienced anything like his life, his world.
Mhm.
And even me, I say this, as far as her with the naive, and I guess I don't know his word choice, but also too, even like the situation where the book opens, she wanted love so bad, like she wanted a connection to family so bad. And I feel like she knew the cousin, she knew, but
Mhm.
it's like, I'm gonna do this anyway because I need this so bad. Like I need that. And everybody has something that they need, and better. Your gut is telling you this ain't right. But you just ride it out because you want
Right?
it so bad. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. She got to the point where she was just like, this is where she started. And once she figured it out, it was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. But you know what? You're right. Naive is probably not the right word for her.
Yeah, and I don't really know what it is. But
I don't know. Yeah, but I'll tell you though, I could go with the naive. If somebody said naive, I was like, yeah, I can go with that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. No,
you get
agreed.
to when you get to the end of book 2, you're like, totally not her. That is not
Yeah.
her. We had it all wrong. All wrong. But like I said, I loved her journey. I loved how you wrote her, how, because sometimes, when you have like one of these crime stories you have where, they ultimately find somebody that's kind of from their world and
Right.
kind of knows it or whatever. But this one, they were like night and day. And
Yeah.
so I kind of love that about that. So now when you go to write this story, because it was really well written in the fact that it was like a crime romance sort of thing. Um, the power dynamics and all of those things. How did you mesh all of that stuff together? Because you had quite a bit of themes going on in there. You had the family, not only family in a sense of your siblings and that sort of thing. You had the family, the crime family.
Right.
And then Kincaid was a bull of two heads, right? He
Yeah.
operated like a branch, kind of sort of like this. So I think that's what endeared me to him the most, because most people will cave having to have to deal
Yeah.
with that much pressure. But how did you write him and her in that dynamic and just make it all fit?
I I don't know. I just think that more so with the two of them, they did just fit. Like she had to be who she was and he had to be who he was. But ultimately, Nari was very powerful when it came to him because and it's that cliche thing of his weakness, but she literally was his weakness. Like if at any point she had um put her foot down and said no to this, that, or the other, as much as he felt like he was in control, her happiness was so much more important to him. And early on, it was quick for him. He just didn't necessarily expose that because he's never had this weakness before. So that was kind of their power dynamic where she was his balance, she was the calm, and she was, I don't know, but she also was his equal in a sense when it came to that because ultimately the one thing he needed was someone to make him lose control. And that was her because you can't be all of one thing or the other. And but she literally had the power, but she didn't abuse it. She knew she had it too. It took her a minute to figure that out, but she knew she had it too. And once she figured that out, she used it to strengthen his decision making and things of that nature. And it took a minute for it to happen, but so she they just, that was it. Like literally he had to be the head, he had to be the one that was in control, and he was driving the bus, but she's given the directions more so, and without even realizing that she was doing it. But then when she figured it out, she didn't abuse that.
Yeah, like when I love how when she went to the lawyer, thinking that,
Right.
like I know he paying him, but he said he was
But you
said he,
protected me, right?
but she did kept saying, right, right. So,
Look, I know this is his dime. However, I need to
but
make sure I'm gonna come out to the good.
right, but and then when the guy had to tell him, obviously, well, he didn't have to, but he did. I was like, okay, he's a narc. You know what I mean? Like, he just, I don't know what could have done with that, but I think she caught him totally off guard
Yeah.
with that. And that was so funny. I was like, oh my God, she's sitting across this table. What's going to happen to her? Like, you know what I mean? I thought Kincaid was going to come in there and just rip her
Bulldoze.
out.
Yep.
But he played it so cool because he didn't even bring it up right away. It was
Yeah.
he just happened to have an in a conversation they was having. He was like, "Did you really think he wasn't going to tell me?" And I think she did
Yeah.
something like traitor or narc or something like that.
Yeah. And I think ultimately I think she knew, but she was hopeful. She was like,
But
maybe.
you know what? Kind of, sort of, though. They were married, so kind of, sort of. He
Yeah.
really did work for her.
Yeah.
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 So it just wasn't all bad. He just couldn't do what she was requesting for him.
It's like, nope. They were funny to me though. I don't know. Their whole dynamic was just it was just I just love them so much. Like their
Yeah,
whole dynamic, it was just they were just perfection.
yeah. So, guys, if you're just now joining us, we are in the Book Bar and we are with Casey Mills. And we are talking about its release day for her. So please shout her out for release day. Give her some love. And we are talking about both books. She has two books out. One is the first book is You Could Do Damage. Love these covers, by the way, too, because they really do speak to the story. And then You Can Do Damage 2. So today, You Can Do Damage 2 released today. It is the second book. However, is this the end of the story, or will there be?
No, this will be the end of it for the two of them.
So for those of you all who don't like to wait for cliffhangers, you got both books right now. Please make sure that you go out and grab these. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. If you love these stories with intense characters, situations, complex and unique situations, this one is for you. And I will be putting the link in there. Let me just see. Here's the link to purchase them if you don't have it already. Link for purchasing. And I think KC has quite a multifaceted catalog, if I will. So she likes to play in the world of romance. And for those of us who read romance, we know that there is really no stone unturned with romance. You can always something in romance. You can just make it up and then it could be a romance, right?
Yes.
I've had this conversation before with authors and with my reader friends. And I'll say this, as long as it has a happily ever after. If it doesn't have a happily ever after, it can't be considered romance.
Exactly.
Something along the way. All right. So what were some of your challenges that you had when you, because I think have you written like a crime-like kind of story before? Or is it mostly suspense, I think?
No, so I don't know. It's all especially my urban books, all of the urban books have more or less that crime family element one way or another, whether it just depends on where they land on the scale. Some of them are the bosses and higher up, and then I do all levels. So I may have the street hustlers on there, but they're in a crime family. So I've done it, I've done it before, I've done it since with this type of story. But so I think the biggest issue is finding balance in delivering the lifestyle, the crime family, and still balancing the romance so that you are hitting all those points to keep the reader intrigued, as far as, because you don't want to just say someone is a hairdresser but you never see them doing hair in a book, right?
Right.
Because it's like, oh, are they really a hairdresser? You can't just give them titles. So for me, I want to show them in that space, but I also don't want to build this very intricate world of all these things going on and lose you as far as the romance, because again, like, the urban aspects and the life is in the background, but for me the romance is always the leading lady. So all of those things, you'll have it. So the hardest part for me is making sure that balance is there, so that you get these characters in their true life and you believe they're believable. You believe that Kincaid is a crime boss, that he is in this family, that he is navigating this business world, the business side that is both professional, legal, and illegal. You believe him in that space. You believe Nari in her space, but you also get to see them falling in love and what that looks like and what that feels like.
Yeah, that seems very difficult for me. All that together, and then when you couple that with you being an author of over 100 books, and you don't, it's your job not to give us the same story twice.
Right.
So and you're not like you're not what do they call it, a pantser, or what's the other one?
I know the terms and I don't ever use them, but
so you don't have an outline. You just kind of write for what you know. So what do you have in your arsenal that keeps you not giving us the same story? Like, how do you?
God.
Okay, okay,
I say this every time, it's ordained, because for two things: to have written all of these books over time, to not outline, to not know who they are, what the stories are about, for that to happen, and for each story to be unique and different, and for you guys not to walk away and be like, oh, I just read that character or that story
yeah,
within my catalog. It's all God, it's ordained. The second reason I know that it's ordained for me, that this is my purpose that I'm walking in, is because my memory is shit. My memory is terrible.
mm,
Like when I walk away from a book, when I hit the end and I walk away from it, I don't remember it. And that's because I need to move on to the next story. And if I'm holding on to those characters, I can't do that. So I have to completely walk away from it, let it go, let God. It's gone. I put it out there to the world. I've had my time with it. Now it's you guys' time with it. So I don't hold on to it. So to be able to move from genre, the layers of genre, subgenres in romance, from book to book to book and story to story to story, without crossing them up and giving you guys something unique that you can read each story and you're like, oh my God, this is good. Now, sometimes there are certain elements in romance that reappear. You can't
yeah,
do
yeah.
anything about that, but the stories are all unique. So it's ordained because I don't know how I do that. It is what it is. When I'm with these stories, I read my stories, I go back occasionally and I read them as a reader, because
Okay,
it's a different experience than when I'm writing it. I'm like, oh, did I say this? Did I do that? Did I connect this? Did I forget to do that? So as we creatives and any other creative, when they are writing the stories and creating them and pulling them together, it's a different experience. I go back and read them as a reader. I'm like, oh, girl, you're good. That's
right.
good. It's a different experience. And I love that. And I love to wait time, like let time pass and then go back. It's a beautiful thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at you. Your pen is pretty dope. So
Well, that is true. That is one thing you can pat yourself on the back about that one. It is. But now, when you read, say, when you're writing, and I totally understand, you got to keep it moving, right? Because you got to get
answer and
ready for
plotter,
that.
that's it.
Thank you, Shay. Um, but when you read them for pleasure, do you fall in love with your characters like we
Oh,
do?
absolutely. And I'm
Yeah,
bad with it too. Like I fall in love and get possessive and I'm like, "Ooh, y'all can't like this. This is mine." But no, I absolutely do, because again, like I said, it's a different experience. To go back to our work as a reader is
mhm,
just such a beautiful experience, because it's a constant flow. It's not choppy as opposed to when we're writing, because we have to stop and go here and go look at this and add this sentence and change this word and do all of that. So in the creative space is different. So I absolutely fall in love with these characters, and it is just like, wow, you pretty dope. I like you. Let me go tell these readers he's mine. You can't have him.
right, right, right. Now, when you do, I have just a little few questions about the business. Now, do you have the same editor for all your stories?
I have for the past, ooh, how long I've been with Nick? 2 years, maybe 3 years. Oh
Okay.
God. I don't know. But so I have for the past couple years. I have, prior to earlier in my career, I was with the publisher, and I honestly don't know that there was true editing then. So my earlier catalog, and oh, the growth, but my earlier catalog, I'm getting them re-edited. But so for the past couple of years, yes. And it is an amazing thing, because she knows my worlds, she knows my writing style, she knows my character. She'd be like, girl, that was Sue in the last book. Why you naming her Sally? Let's fix that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. You need
little
that.
things like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
she's amazing. Nicole Falls is my editor, and she does
Oh,
an
okay.
amazing job.
Nicole's my
Yeah.
Nicola.
Yes. Yes. She has been amazing to myself and my authors.
Okay, good, 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 good. Now, okay, let's talk covers. So the covers, let's bring it. Let's bring this one up. At least the one that we're doing today. So we got these roses on here. and this little plotter here. So sometimes when I get into stories, I just leave no stone unturned. I want to know everything that's on your mind. Why did you do this? So first of all, who did the covers?
So I am with Black Odyssey Media for these two,
Okay.
with You Can Do Damage, and so their cover artist did it, and I sent over what I had in mind for it, and it was Rose. It was kind of similar to this, but a little different. And then she just went in and created her version of what that was, and that's what we came out with. And I absolutely love the covers. They're
Yeah.
so perfect. They're beautiful.
Yeah. Now this little plotter down here is that, I was just trying, don't mind me, but I was just trying to figure this out. Like, is this blood splatter or is that just obvious?
On which
No, I think
ones?
it's
I
here.
feel like there's some dripping on the black cover. I don't know if it's on the white one.
So here it's got a little bit there. And
Yeah.
then, and I was thinking like these are thorns, like, because you know how possessive, or I shouldn't say possessive, protective, King K was like, you touch her. And because he kept saying, nothing touches you, nothing touches.
Yes.
So I was like, roses are good in the sense that they have thorns. So that's why I was like thinking, like,
I don't even know if she went that deep with it, and she very well may have. But let me tell you something. When I got this, I was like, "Oh, it's so pretty." That
yeah,
was my
it is.
mindset. I was like, "It's just pretty."
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's really the same. It's really the same picture. I think it's just black and
And
white. So,
white. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, because I'm seeing the little thing that there. So okay, so now what did you give to her for her to be able to produce this?
Meaning when you said?
No, what did you give her?
Oh,
Like,
it was another cover that I saw that had some roses and stuff. I honestly don't even remember what it was, but I just knew color scheme. I love a black cover. I'm absolutely in love with a black cover. And I knew that I wanted that. And then I saw something with roses. So I was like, oh, that's pretty. I really like that. And so it was just, and it might have been multiple covers that I sent, and they probably all had the theme of roses on them. And so she kind of did her thing from that.
okay, so is that somebody that you just use that with this publishing company, but you have other cover art.
Yes. So because I'm hybrid, which is both traditional and independently published. So for my independent stuff, now that's a different ball game. I just so sometimes I'll have a vision for the cover, and then I will try and type it out and send it to them. And I have multiple different people I use, but I'll type it out and send it to them and say, this is what I want. This is what I want it to look like. And let them kind of go creatively. Or sometimes I adamantly know this is what I want it to be, and I'm not a designer. So I'll go into Canva and hack up something that looks terrible, I'm sure, and they get it and they're like, I don't know what this is, but I see your direction. So,
Yeah.
and then I'll send it to them and say, hey, this is kind of what I want. So that's how that works. And sometimes I don't know, like, and I'm not a designer, so I can't tell you how to make it, but I can look at it and be like, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
And can say, move this, change this, put this color, that, but I can't do it from scratch and say, this is really what I want.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, I can see that because for me as a reader, not a cover designer at all, but as a reader, I'll read the story, I'll see the cover, um, and then I'll read the story, and then I'll go back to the cover and says, "Oh yeah, they hit it on the mark with that." And then, like
Yeah.
me, I'm thinking thorns and all of that. And you're right, they probably wasn't going that deep, but it's just me. I get
And she might have. Now, she very well might have, like, because they'll have the synopsis sometimes and they'll have all these details about the story. And so they might. I just am not that deep with it. And I am that person also too. My covers don't necessarily deliver as far as what the story is going to be. So you will be sorely mistaken when you look at my cover sometime and get into the story and be like, where did that cover come from? Because this don't fit.
right.
But I like certain things, and if I see the visual, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. Then I'll put it on a cover. And it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to the reader, but you're gonna be like, oh, it's a pretty cover. It didn't
Right,
match the
right.
story, but it was so pretty.
But that's enough for us to pick it up, though. You know what I'm saying? So that's enough. Because like the Beautiful Noise cover, again, I'm not finished with that one yet. I thought, okay, this is going to be, some musical artist or something like that. And it very may well be. I haven't.
It
I'm
is. It is.
okay, so I'm like 25% into that one. Yeah. So I get it though, but that was a beautiful cover too. That's a beautiful cover too.
Thank you.
So okay, so what was your expectation of the reader when you wrote both of these stories? And if it was the same or different expectations between book one and book two?
So I'm probably the oddball when it comes to this. I don't have a reader expectation because I don't want the reader to have an expectation of the story.
Okay.
So the only thing when you read my books is I want you to come in with an open mind. And
Okay.
just know that please don't have expectations. Just know that if you trust my pen, you're going to have a good time. I will give you some key pointers at the beginning of the story because, of course, if you don't like urban romance, I'm going to say, hey, you're going to get this, this, and this. If this is not your thing, don't read this one. Skip it, come back to something else. Or if it's a slow burn, I'm going to let you know, hey, this is a slow burn. These characters have to build and grow. If that's not your thing, don't read this. If it's insta love, I'm going to say, hey, they fall fast and hard. If that's not your thing, don't read it. But outside of that, I don't have an expectation other than just for the readers to come in with an open hearted mind because if you want a good story, I'm going to give you a great story. You just have to trust that I'm going to get everybody where they need to be, but don't have expectations because it will kill it every time because your expectations may not fit what I wanted to do with the story.
Mhm.
But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I wrote what I wrote. And if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. If you didn't, come back again because I'll have something else for you. I promise I will.
Right. Well, and that is beautifully said, and it is so true. And
Yeah.
and like for me, sometimes I have conversations with readers with about books, and I'll be like, oh my God, I really love that, and you know how I go deep, and I say, well,
Yeah.
I think, and I'm always saying this, I think what the author was trying to say was this, and this, but they were like, no, I'm not doing it. But the beauty
Yeah.
about that, and the beauty of book clubs too, is that you get a group of people who read the same manuscript, right? But they all
I'll
have,
have a different takeaway.
yeah, and then you can say, oh, you know what, I never thought about that, but yeah, that I can see that, so what you said is absolutely true, and that is that I guess that's what makes our community just run, smoothly, if you
And
will.
the thing is, like, so we are going to receive something based on our life experiences, right?
Mhm. Right.
So I've been married for 30 years. So what I perceive as what a healthy relationship and a marriage and romance looks like is not going to be the same for somebody who's never been in love before.
Mm,
So when you're reading these stories, if that person has never been in love before, some things that I might write for my FMC and how she navigates and may allow her husband to lead in certain situations and where he allows her to lead, it's not going to make sense to them because it's just them and they don't understand what that looks like in that space. So we receive things based on our own perceptions. Doesn't mean that they can't romanticize wanting that and what that looks like for them even though they don't have it and had never had it before. But some things may be hard for them to digest or to process or to understand. So, and that's the main reason I say don't come into something with expectations because we already have our built in perspectives based on our life experiences. So, if you add expectations on top of that, oh, it's going to ruin it every single time.
yeah. And also too, like you said, people are in different places in their lives, so obviously they're not going to be able to, they might be still eating baby food and you giving them a whole steak and they can't take.
Agreed. Yep.
But I do feel like where the inspiration from your stories come in at is, say for instance, you come in with all of this knowledge of what it's like to be in a relationship for 30 years. For someone who's never had love or just starting out, you can say, oh, this really does happen. And then
Hmm.
and the other thing about that too is that you're writing the story for us, with us in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
not that you need that, because love is
Yeah.
love,
Yeah, no,
but
no, no. I agree.
yeah, I think that's where the inspiration comes in too. When you guys are writing the story, you're giving some maturity in a relationship where somebody might be starting out or never had it at all.
Yeah, and I've been all over the spectrum when it comes to relationships, like even prior to marriage and, high school romances and then the 20s and all of these things. Like I've been all over. And then we've also been all over the spectrum when it comes to what marriage looks like. It changes by the day, by the minute
Yeah.
sometimes. And so, with all of these things, I can write, but I can only write what I write. And I try to write these characters in different spaces
Hmm.
um, so that it resonates with everyone. But someone who has experienced something. So the characters that I write, I try to write them relatable in a sense. So even if it's not your life, you've seen it on TV, you've seen it in a friend, you've seen it in an aunt, uncle, sister, brother, cousin,
Yep.
like these different things, and not just with the romance aspect, but just the characters themselves and how they navigate life.
Yeah. Now, well, and I think, like I said, you bring that in there when you're writing romance. It's a lot of different buckets in romance. So
Yeah.
we're going to have a lot of different experiences when we're
Yeah.
reading romance. So yeah. So now and for this book right here with the themes that you have throughout the book, and I didn't notice that because I talk about this a lot with my book buddies too, when authors are writing stories, when you have like little, triggers or something in there, the world is a big old trigger bucket anyway. There's so much
Yes.
stuff going on,
So much.
if you didn't
Yeah.
have triggers at one point, you certainly
You
probably
got
have
them now.
now.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice that you wrote that in there, but did you feel like you had to because of the situation with Nori and Kincaid?
No, I just think so. Two things. I think that when the story was written years ago, so when the stories were written, I was not in a space of doing trigger warnings. So you just spoke
Okay.
to that.
Yeah.
And had I really done a deep dive thinking about it prior to, I maybe would have put some things in there. But ultimately, there's no way to list every trigger
Yeah.
because again it could be anything. The color red for someone could be a trigger, like, you know what I'm saying? So the basic things I try more or less to do with triggers, especially domestic violence and miscarriages and assault, sexual assault. And I typically don't write those things in books. Just me personally, I just don't choose to write them. But so if it's those things that are like the wide range
Mhm.
that, I try to write them in there. But in hindsight, for these books, like I said, they were written years ago. I was not in a space of, because it wasn't a huge thing.
Mhm.
And so I just wasn't in a space of thinking, oh, I need to like warn them about this, or this.
Yeah.
But there weren't really a lot of triggers in this
No,
book, truth be told. There wasn't really anything I felt like should
yeah.
have been an issue, but there too, again, I don't know. You know what I'm
Right, right,
saying?
right. I don't think they were either, but then again, I read a lot of things that have them, and I don't, and they just make
Experience
my
those
trigger,
things.
I should say.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be insensitive just because they don't trigger me that
No,
they.
I agreed. Yeah.
But I used to say it's just like, where do we get to a point where we're reading fiction and you got to put all of this,
All of this stuff, and you'll never get it all. Like you'll
right, right, right.
never list everything that could trigger someone. And so it's just really hard. The author space, the creative space has become, let us know if there's this in the book, let us know if it's going to be a cliffhanger, let us know if it's a this. There's a list of so many things um that are now demands and expectations from the readers uh in that space. And it's not good, bad, or whatever, but it just is. And because things have shifted and changed so much, I came from library reading, like not reading by online or things of that. I came from going to the library and just grabbing books off the shelf, and you know and I didn't know anything about anything when it came to reading, other than I just want to read a book.
Right.
And so it was different. It's so different than it is now. The access has shifted and changed things so much to the lines are blurred to where expectations, there's that word again, are so heavy in the reading space and the literary space that I don't know, I just try to rank up books and then go away.
Right. And you're right about that. I mean, even with me, coming into this world maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, I was like you too, library reading, and romance was never really my thing when I first
Mm,
started reading. That was just never my thing. It was my sister, it was her thing. And
yeah.
and I don't know, I kind of got into it, and then, it's been, and now this is where I live. I live on
Mm,
Romance Avenue, right? But I do dip out and do other things. But when I really think about it, everything has a little bit of romance in it,
yeah.
and I really a little bit of romance in it. Um, but it is that I didn't think these books needed any trigger warnings. I didn't. I think, and like I said, a lot of them I don't feel like they need. But again, that's
Yeah.
so. But anyway, so you are now. Can you tell us like what's next for you, or before you tell us what's next for you? How has your promos have been going? Because I noticed that you have been out in the world a lot more than I remember you when I first heard the name Casey Mills. You've been
Uh,
out. You even come to the Windy City, so I got a chance to love up on you in my own city. So I appreciated that. So how is this these tours been going for you?
it's interesting. I say that much. And I think for me, so I always say, so Jessica Watkins is the first person that ever invited me to an event. And she tried, I think for a year, she sent the invitation. I was like, no. And then I think it's the next year I finally was like, okay, well, maybe. And
Yeah.
so that's when I started going to my first events. But so she was the first person to invite me, but Indie Love was the first event I went to because it fell before Jessica's events. I think Indie Love was in June and then Jessica's was in August.
Hmm.
And I have not sat down since then. And I think that was what, 4 years ago, maybe. I don't even know how long, but so you're correct. I am out there.
Right. Which I love
And
seeing you.
yeah, and I enjoy, but I think I'm gonna slow down a little bit next year and
Yeah.
just kind of, because it's a lot. It's a lot of, time away from home. And I work from home because I write full time. My husband works from home. So we're both home, but and so we have the flexibility to travel, but it's just still doing it, it's a
Yeah.
lot. Like it's really a lot. So but it is a beautiful thing because, and I'm a sociable recluse, so I'm perfectly content sitting at home not doing anything. I have a small circle of friends who I see and things of that nature. But I will say this much, so to answer your question, how has it changed? There is something so beautiful about being in a room with readers
Mhm.
versus getting that love online. They leave reviews, they leave comments and things of that nature. And I occasionally go out and read that stuff. But to be in the room, to feel their energy is just unparalleled. And
Yeah.
it's because that's my why. When I get these stories about, oh my God, I was in such a dark place and I was reading your books and they gave me a little bit of sunshine, or to say I was in such an amazing space and I was happy and I was reading your books and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so hopeful about this, that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But to be in the room, to feel that energy, it's just like I said, it's unparalleled. So it has changed me in that sense because that's the first time I started to really see what my words on page did for people. And I just cannot even process how these readers show up for me. Like it's so crazy. I still like to this day, and people laugh all the time because I'm like, y'all coming to see me? You gonna come see me? Like
Right.
still to this day, I'm like that. It's so funny. Because I just feel like I can never get bigger than the thing. When you get bigger than the thing, it's ruined, and I'm never going to be bigger than the thing, and the thing is this literary space, and so it's, I don't know, it's so beautiful. Like, it is so, to be in the room and to see it and to feel it. I just cannot even process that. And I'm still floored. I'm like, oh, y'all like me? Like, it's just, it's
Right.
funny. It's like really funny. So I don't know. So it's changed in, like, that's what it does. It changes me in that sense, to have an event, and to, like, I'm about to start go do some book clubs and some signings and stuff for the release. And when they show up with their books in hand, and they want pictures and hugs, and they want to talk to me about how they love these characters and what they like or dislike, and sometimes you don't love the characters, there's a whole bunch of them you don't like, but
Right, right, right.
to
But still,
have these conversations,
yeah, but
I
even if we
just,
don't like them, there's we still gonna talk to you about them. It's our
yes.
connection.
Yeah, so I love that. Like, I love that. That's my why. That is
Yeah,
literally my why. So when it gets hard, and when I am stressed out, and when I'm just like, I just can't even figure this out. Like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? That is my why. I go to these events, and you guys are just like, no, 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 keep writing. We love this.
yeah.
That's my why.
Yes, yes. And JB is like me in a sense. I went, I don't can't even tell you how long ago my first book event was. I had no clue that this stuff was out here, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have no clue. And I have been addicted to, like, there's been some years way back where I'm telling you, I was wheels up every month going to some event. I don't know who I was. Like, I'm just a regular
Yeah.
person. Like, you know what I mean? I got a regular job like everybody else, bills and all of that. But I was, not only was I wheels up, on the plane, doing the hotels, the registration and buying the books and everything, but I loved it. It made me fall in love. So I remember when you first came to Chicago, it was at Jessica's event. And I don't usually do her event all the time because she's in Chicago. Why not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I was so mad because I could not get to you. I could not get to you. You talking about a woman scorned. I mean, I got to everybody else, but I usually, when I go to an event, I walk every
or do
table.
everybody, yeah.
Table, and I could not get to you. And so then I saw you in Milwaukee,
Milwaukee,
and I was
yeah.
able to get to you then. But then now I'm rushing now, right? And
Yeah.
then when you came this time, I was like, oh my gosh. And you were like, oh, you looked like you were like overwhelmed. You were signing those books. That line was so long. And I jumped out of your line there to there because, wait, but it was long. But I was not leaving that event until I got some FaceTime with you.
Well,
Um,
I'm humbly grateful.
yeah, yeah. No, I absolutely do love the book events, and those are my whys. And so I'm always, again, I'm a greedy reader.
Yeah.
Well, I want what I want. I like what I like. But then sometimes I have to have a little bit of reflection with myself and say, hey, these authors, even though they're your superheroes, they are human and they have stuff just like you. You know what I mean? Sometimes I have to talk to myself about that. Uh, yeah, I mean, Jennifer is correct. I mean, the books, you just never know about. I think there is something you can get out of every story, whether it's that crime romance, that thriller, or that small romance, the inspirational
Say
romance, or
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can get, it's something in everything for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
And Jennifer has been, I think, I feel like Jennifer has been with me this my entire career. Like, I
yeah.
think she came on, like, she was there from the very beginning. Like,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And, sometimes it takes that. I try to, and it's hard for me sometimes because like I came on board with supporting authors, but my focus was indie authors because I felt
mm,
like they didn't have, their voice wasn't as loud as some of the traditionally published ones.
agreed. Yeah.
But
It's still
now,
that now though.
yeah, but a lot of you guys are like hybrids, and that makes it a little bit easier too. But same, you, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like how did you promote this right here? So you have somebody that does your promos for you, right?
No, so of course the publishing house, Galaxy Media, they do promotion. She has her team, but no, it's literally just myself, my agent, and the PA. So it's self promotion because you still, regardless, have to be your biggest advocate. The world has changed so much. The publishing industry has changed so. And let's be real, there are certain authors that are in the traditional space that are going to get money behind them regardless. But even still, then they have to promote. I mean, if you go to Kennedy Ryan's page, she is literally on there every day with her beautiful face.
Yeah.
The rest of she's in a better space.
And I
She does have a bigger push, but no, the promotion has to come from us regardless of what space, whether it's our independent books or the traditional pub.
Yeah. And so what would you say, just asking from for us as readers, what what do you think is one or two things that helped you the most with just your readers? What can we do?
So the biggest thing is just read the books, promote the books, no matter what space they're in, whether they're a traditional pub or whether they're independent. Your authors are your authors. If you like an author, no matter what space they're published in, read their books, talk about their books, share their books. So for the readers, I think the biggest thing that you guys can do is just show up for us. Buy independently from these independent authors, purchase their books from their sites and things of that nature, because a lot of them can't put their books wide if they're on KU. So the bulk of their money is going to come when you go buy their print and paperbacks and hardbacks from their site. They appreciate that. Show up for them at book events and don't just, come wave at them and say, hi, buy a book. But we can't count people's pockets, and we get that everybody can't afford to do that. So talk about a book if you can't buy one. So the biggest thing is just spread the word, talk about our work, share it. If you've read a great book, and sometimes, and the reviews are very important too. And it's not necessarily, oh, you have to go out there and leave an amazing review or things of that nature. Sometimes it's just as simple as leaving the review, and we're grateful for that, because the numbers for those who do want to be traditionally published, when they have their independent work and they don't have a lot of traction on there and they don't have a lot of reviews, then of course the publishing houses are like, we don't know if you're going to sell. We don't, people aren't showing up for you. So leave reviews and talk about the work and purchase the books and do book clubs and chat about them and things of that nature. Just any kind of support whatsoever. And it doesn't have to be financial, because if you can only read a book on KU, read a book on KU. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. If you need to get it from the library or Hoopla, Libby, we don't care. We just want you to get it in a space that is supported. Don't go out there and get it somewhere pirated, but get it in a space that's supported and talk about it, share it, tell a friend. Make sure the traction is there, because there are hundreds and thousands of readers out there who don't even know I exist. But
Yeah.
if you tell one person, they're going to tell someone else, and they're going to tell someone else, and they're going to tell someone else. And that's how we grow.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, for me, and I think for many of us that are out there, that's no hardship for us, because
Yeah.
when you read a good book, you cannot hold on to it. It's just
Yes.
unselfish, and it's just it boils over. You got to tell somebody. That's why
Yeah.
I kind of came up with the term book buddies, but then I put a little spin on it, like you got to be a viable book buddy. That book,
Viable, but
right? Because when I'm reading a book, I need somebody that I can call in the middle of the night, early in the morning, all through the day, and
absolutely.
say, "Girl, what?" or a guy or whatever. Because there's a lot of guys reading
Yeah,
books.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what is up with that? Did you see what she did? I'm gonna talk to her.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell her what was she thinking.
And
You
then
know,
you need them, or when you're at that point where they're really pissing me off, I just don't even think I can finish. You need that person that's gonna say, "Girl, keep going. I'm telling you, I
right,
finished it.
right,
Keep going, keep going."
right, right. And I think it's a lot of different ways that we can support. Like for me, I go between being a recluse sometimes and then being online. Like this is a lot for me. Like it's not a lot for me, but like I prepare for this, but then for me to set my phone somewhere where I'm reading at, like I don't know, I think I'm technology challenged when it comes.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? Because I can talk with you, but if I'm just sitting here talking to myself, that's not the
Yeah,
same.
no, that's not, no, I absolutely understand that. And it's not necessarily always about content, but truth be told, for most authors, content for us literally is, you don't even have to say anything. You can literally have your camera up, put a picture of the book and put your favorite quote and point to it, and don't say a thing at all, and we're good.
Right?
Or don't
That would
even be
be me.
in the camera. Just put the book up and say, "Loved it, read it, y'all."
Right,
But
right. Now see that
yeah,
I can do.
I
I can do
promise
that.
you, authors are not picky when it comes to that, because we just want to know you're reading it. And that's the biggest thing. So I promise you that these authors that you're reading and supporting, you literally, all you have to do is get on there and just set your camera up and say, "This is what I read. It's an amazing book. Read it, y'all. You're not going to be disappointed." And we're good. We don't care.
Well, our time is really we were over time anyway, and I appreciate you so much for coming out. I really, really do. And I just want to say again, this is these are two great books, you guys. She's got both of them out. The story is finished, book one and book two, so you don't have no
Yes.
reason not to go out and
No reason.
right. So you get both of them. Now, last words for you is what are you working on next? Do you have newsletters? Where can they find you to stay in touch with you?
So the most up to date is going to be Instagram, and so that's the author Casey Mills. And then if you're Facebook, it's author Casey Mills. Um, so those are the two most up to date places, because once when I post on one, it posts on the other. So you're gonna get the
Okay.
most up to date stuff there. What's next is I'm going to be on tour with this book and getting it out there to the world. So I'll be making some stops in some cities. The schedule will be eventually on my social media. So if you're in those cities, you can come visit. And I'm working on a bunch of stuff. That's literally, like, I'm juggling a bunch of books right now to get them out there. So
Hmm.
this is what I'll be promoting and working on for the next couple of months while I'm writing. And then I have some stuff that'll be coming out the first of the year. I got a cowboy book that's a collaboration, same world, with one of my pen sisters, Charity Shanae.
Okay.
And I don't
Is
even
that,
know what else.
is that the one with Cass?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So that
we
one
have,
is not out yet, right?
no, so that's not out yet. But yeah, so I have that coming out. And for my football book, Only for Me, I have the second book coming out of that, which is another one of the players. If you read that, Ryland's book will be coming out.
Okay.
And I have the second book in my Assassin series. So all of those will be coming out
Hmm.
first quarter of 26.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Almost can't keep up. We have, hey Brianna, hi, thanks for joining us. Are you going to be in the DMV area?
I am December 14th, I believe, but that's one of my authors. I'll let you know, Brianna.
Oh, okay. Thanks for joining. All right. Well, Miss Casey, thank you. I am so honored that you were able to come out here and spend a little bit of your evening with us. But this will not be the last time you will be sitting in that seat.
No, I will be back. And thank you so much for having me. Again, like I said, I'm just grateful when people want to see me, want to talk to me, want to read my books. I am truly, truly honored and humbly grateful that you had me tonight.
Yes, thank you. And guys, make sure you go out and get these two books. Send us some love through the release day. It'll be release day tomorrow for somebody else. So keep on posting. Make sure you get this
Yes.
FaceTime in this book here. It really is a great read. You will absolutely love these characters. So take care. Make sure you
Thank
subscribe
you.
to the channel so that you don't miss any other any other shows just like this. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye for now.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, just